Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this point, there's no declarations of financial interest. I see we have no delegations. Item 4 on the agenda is a review. Could I have a motion to regarding the agenda?
I move that we accept the agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any additions or questions regarding the agenda? Seeing none, move on to the minutes of the Municipal Services Standing Committee minutes of April 8th, 2024 were reviewed and adopted.
I just did have a question about the logs.
Okay. Do you want to put that under other business?
Actually, it could be under minutes from the last meeting, but I did want to have a request for an updated org chart. If I could put that under other business, please.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Tuckey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Under other business, I would like to discuss the cemetery.
Any further additions or questions? Or is the mover and seconder okay with the changes to the proposed additions to the agenda?
I am.
Okay, hearing no further things, and we have an amended motion on the floor. All of those in favor? Pass unanimously. Okay. Trying to get ahead of myself, but I won't again. Minutes of the Municipal Services Standing Committee minutes of April 9th, 2024 were reviewed and adopted at the regional meeting of council on April 16th, 2024. Yes, Councillor or Deputy Mayor Kroll.
Just a follow up from these minutes and last week about the remediation dispersal of the logs. I thought it was to start this week.
SAO.
Unfortunately, our director had a family emergency, so he had to leave. So we didn't quite finalize everything up. We are just finalizing up the permit. Permit that they'll need, the wording on the permit, and we're waiting for our director to come back. We're hoping to start that by Friday.
So that would start, people can start getting the logs next week then?
Go ahead. I would think that once they have the permit in hand, they can start getting the permit on Friday. So if we can get notification out tomorrow and they can come in and start getting the permits, then we could start, they can start collecting on Friday. Harvesting.
Anything further regarding minutes? Okay, packages included vision and values, and everybody's reviewed those. Next item on the agenda is Director's Report. Municipal Service Municipal Services Director Report, April 2024. SAO?
Thank you, Councillor Cravette. The remediation work from the fire action is near completion. We had one small section that didn't get burnt before we put in the fire ban. But we have permission from MACA to go ahead and finalize all of our invoices, et cetera. And that will be burnt once the ban is listed. The property remediation work is 85% complete on the Whooping Crane Crescent. The building's been taken down. This posed a safety concern as well as a fire risk. There's also been some trees removed, identified as a fire risk. Once the contractor's off site, we'll bring in the Bobcat to mulch and all the willows and have the lot clean. And the final part of the project will be done with our own internal resources. The spring melt went rather quickly, and we had minimal hot sea work. We moved on to other spring duties earlier than previous years. We've been out cutting roads, preparing for crack sealing, sweeping all the gravel and the sand off, and started our spring cover at the landfill. And we'll finish that in conjunction with the upcoming spring cleanup. We have processed and we have accepted and processed a very large pile of waste that a local contractor was building up and storing. And this was posing a major environmental risk and a major fire risk. And we worked to get this completed, and by having our landfill compactor process the loads as they were brought in. The water plant working on identifying hydrants for replacement this season. We've switched to the ponds, which greatly increases our ability to produce potable water. It also increases the volume on hand. We did have that emergency pool shutdown at the pool due to the inlet breaking. There's some pictures within your report just to give you an idea of where it was at and what its condition was in. And we had the contractor jackhammer the deck in order to access it. We've been able to fill actually all of our vacant positions and hire our summer staff. And they've been out cleaning up garbage around the ditches and around the town-owned facilities. They've started fire smarting around some of our facilities. You may have noticed along Town Hall that some old trees have been taken down. And out by the lagoon, as we're moving into the fire season, the annual trade show was great, and the building was readied, and it was all shut down afterwards. And they've provided some great pictures of the team out there at work. Any questions regarding that? You okay?
No. Seeing no questions, next item on our agenda is bylaw policy review and development. We don't have nothing, or there are no items in regards to that. Item 7, administration. Briefing note, pool assessment RFQ cost was reviewed.
I move that council determines that the pool assessment project is a priority to undertake at this time, and that the project name to be determined is deprioritized until such time as additional funds are available.
Do we have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Councillor or Deputy Mayor Kroll, would you be willing to take the chair for a moment?
Yes, I will. Questions? Councillor Couvrette.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I am going to suggest or recommend that we table this motion. Just a bit of background on why I'm bringing this forward. In reviewing the submitted proposals, one of the recommended proposals had under a clause that they have written under limitations, and it read, therefore, concealed physical deficiency and design inadequacies are specifically excluded from our mandate. And from the discussions that the lively discussions that we had previously about this, a lot of that was what we wanted addressed is what were design deficiencies and things. And as such, I think administration would appreciate the time to review the quotes and determine which one should be followed through on.
Any other SEL?
And while I do agree, that would be the second briefing note represented that's going to be presented, that I do agree with Councillor Cravette requesting to withdraw that one or to table that. I just want to ensure that the scope of service is the same across all three of them and that we are getting exactly, and I do apologize that that one wasn't caught sooner, and I appreciate Councillor Cravette's fine eye for detail on that one. Despite that aspect, so even if we are tabling that, I think the discussion needs to be had, or at least to be considered, around this is an unbudgeted cost that's going to come forth. So now we're seeing it's at least 12,000. It could be higher than that if it is a more fulsome proposal that we're seeking. So I think that still warrants that discussion around how we're going to budget it. So I did prepare a copy, or I just flipped out our priority list. So that we could have those in front of us where we sort of look whether we just start at the bottom and move up and just sort of move that down to the list. I've got it here in my hand. Sorry, guys, don't look for it. I'll bring it over to you.
Councillor Cravette?
Yeah, just a point of order. We do have a motion to table on the floor.
So we don't vote on, do we vote on tabling? I'm sorry, I'm confused on that one. Okay, so we need to have there's a motion to table it was seconded by Anne. Councillor Kissinger. So are you okay to table? All in favor to table? Motion. And pass the chair back to, or are you, nope, I'll keep going, okay? Second, get back to my backing here. So the next is a briefing note on the William Schaefer Memorial Pool Assessment. Go ahead.
7A was actually the this briefing note that we're talking about. 7B, you're a little out of order there on what you were tabling, but it was a part of the whole discussion. I absolutely appreciate that. So 7A, the briefing note around the cost, we do have to take a look at that. So I did a quick analysis there. So projects 1 to 8 are those that are already underway. They've got costs incurred, and several of them are legislated and are required for public health and safety. The evergreen projects are ongoing replacement upgrade costs. They're required to be incurred annually to ensure that we're able to remain our levels of service. And finally, it's important that identify a project that's not already underway at this time, not essential for public health and safety, legislative requirements, or services. And just a reminder that Council has made public health and safety a priority in this budget this time around, especially the fire preparedness and health and safety preparedness.
So this briefing note is null and void since we're not going to carry on then, right? Or we didn't.
I think the discussion still needs to be started to be had, where Council will start to consider where we're going to get a budget for this project. So if we're going to do an assessment within this year, it's an unbudgeted item. So do you want, so if we continue to go forward with this RFP, it's within understanding that there will have to be a budget freed up to do it. So I'd suggest council start having that conversation now to sort of say which project or projects do we want to put on hold and move this up the line as a priority? Or is that's the discussion that has to be had. There's a limited amount of the pie. We're looking at another piece. We don't have that. So which piece of the pie are we going to not do? If we're going to take that analogy all the way. Sorry.
Councillor Couvret? I thought you were had your hand up.
I guess we, as mayor and council, we do have the ability to identify items over and above what was initially budgeted by resolution or motion. At this point, though, I think discussing postponing or deferring one of our high priority projects is sort of moot until such time as we decide that we do have a usable quote in front of us and a potential contractor to deliver the services. So at this point, I think a few email exchanges amongst councillors and be prepared that once we do have a recommendation for a potential contractor to do the services, and that we can have a very meaningful discussion at that time.
So with that, we will not entertain 7B pricings, or that's done. Okay. I will pass the chair back to Councillor Couvret.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Next item on our agenda is other business, and there was 2 additions. Councillor or Deputy Mayor Kroll had update of organizational charts.
Yeah, the last one that I have seen is from 2021, and I was wondering if we can have a move that we ask for a copy of the current organizational chart that was approved by the town council, and any vacancies identified and any term positions that are in it, please.
I'll second that.
Discussion. All of those in favor? Mayor Daniel? Passed unanimously. Okay, the second item under other business was an item from Councillor Tuckey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just wondering where we are with terms of getting the work that's required done at the cemetery, and concerns that I've raised at previous meetings are a number of trees that are within the cemetery that need to come down, considering we've been experiencing strong winds. And I'd hate to see trees falling onto some of the grave sites. And where are we with the fence?
SAO?
At this time, that's one's on hold as we move forward on some of the more time-consuming or time-relevant ones around the fire safety. So those in the legislative one have been given priority and moved forward. From what I'm seeing around the snowboard park, lookout, cemetery retrofit, those have all been put under one. And we're moving forward on those ones, but I don't have any updates around the cemetery. It wasn't given priority at this time. it's priority in the budget, but as far as moving forward, there's limited capacity to move as many projects forward as we can.
Deputy Mayor Kroll?
I see as the capital projects here that it is scheduled for the fall. I was just wondering if an RFP or if there was already identified and ordered the fencing for it, so that once there is some available time before the snow flies, that we can get the fence done on that.
SAO?
I'll have to look into that and get back to you.
Deputy Mayor?
Is there part of the town going around and doing some looking at trees and fire smarting our own properties? Is that ongoing currently right now? And does that include the cemetery area?
We are definitely have identified some of the priority areas for fire smarting, and it is started already. As for the cemetery, I'll have to confirm some of those details.
Mayor Daniels?
Yeah, just with that fencing, I know we put it out 3 times here. One, the person was going to do it, he stopped, and then the other one took over or something. So now we're here to get a new fence. Yeah, so I'm reluctant to put it out for the 4th time because it's costing us money every time we put it out. So what happened? I went out and I phoned Phoenix. I got the pricing there. I'm not sure if it's the same pricing today because this is a while ago, and I got it done. I got my hand slapped. That's okay. I'm used to that, but we need to make a decision if we're going to go with it or we're not, or because every time we put it out, and I'm reluctant to do that because it costs the town money, and right now the town needs money for these services and that. So I'm kind of reluctant to put out everything all the time to tender, but no, it's there, and just we have to make a decision on it. So, and like Deputy Mayor said, like hopefully we'll get to it before we can't do anything again this fall. So that's the little bit of story behind it. So thanks.
Okay, I know somebody can call a point of order if they want on this. I am just going to make a quick comment. Back, I guess it was sometime last fall, we were talking about this, and I had suggested that this might be something for discussion at our community leadership table, where possibly the town purchases the fence and the other government step forward and make it a make work project, something for an apprenticeship type thing for their members. So I don't know if the mayor would want to follow up with the community leadership on that as an alternative. Deputy Mayor?
You stole my thought process there. Community zoning and bylaw, community plan and zoning bylaw meetings are occurring with leadership tomorrow, and perhaps we can have that discussion tomorrow with the groups. Are you attending that as well, SAO? It's a 2-minute question to add to there. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Kissinger?
Yes, thank you. Great point, Councillor Couvret, about the community getting together to do this, but I think the fence needs to be purchased, and I want it done this year. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor?
I think this might be my 3rd time. I'm sorry if you can call point of order on me. I don't believe that it actually went out for an official tender. I don't remember seeing it an official tender. It's just there. So it really hasn't gone out for a tender at all yet, as Mayor Daniels had alluded to. So, okay.
Councillor Tuckey?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did have the opportunity to talk to some of our community members, and they kind of reminded me of something that used to happen here, that the town did have a group of volunteers to take care of the cemetery. And I'm just wondering if our current administration would consider advertising to see if people would be willing on a volunteer basis, because it sounds like our workers are very busy, to undertake the caring for the cemetery in terms of cleaning up once the water's running, watering the grass, that kind of stuff, cutting the grass and keeping it clean. Thank you.
SAO?
I can certainly consider that and talk to the team about some ideas of how to increase that volunteer and see how we can go about it. Maybe there is a historical precedent that's set that I could utilize.
Councillor Kissinger.
Yes, thank you. Since the community leadership is meeting tomorrow and we're bringing up talking about the fence together here, maybe another thing they could bring up is them, as Councillor Tucky mentioned, volunteering to look after the thing. Just wondering if some of these organizations hire summer students, and that could be something they could do. So it's not a full-time job, but that could be maybe once every 2 weeks or once a month to go and work in there. Thank you.
SAO?
The meeting on Thursday with the community leadership is specifically to the community plan and zoning bylaw. However, I do believe there's an upcoming meeting planned in regards to the Aboriginal Indigenous Day, that perhaps these items could be included in that agenda. And so we know there's a lot to talk about in regards to the community plan and zoning bylaw. So I'd rather keep that very focused, but Mayor, may we add that onto your agenda for the next CLI around the Indigenous Day planning?
Yes, I could ask him about him. I was thinking something else, probably not this year, but I'm not sure if the travel club, PWK, has ever asked us for funding for traveling. They don't have a travel club. Okay, that takes that away from me. But what I was thinking there was, because we give out $5,000 to the golf course and places like this, right? So if you could have those kids to do the cemetery, and we give them $5,000, now you're helping too. You're helping the kids, which is our kids, going to out of town on these visits and that, and you're also helping the graveyard, where you're getting people to come in, do the job, but you're also helping out the kids. I wouldn't mind to try that. Then we're getting two for one stone, right? So I don't know, just a thought that crossed my head.
Okay, nothing further on the subject. Next item on our agenda is excusing of councillors.
I move that we excuse Councillor Ferguson and Councillor Campbell from this evening's meeting.
I will second.
All in favor? Pass unanimously. The date of the next Municipal Services Standing Committee meeting will be held on June 11th, 2024. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
I move this meeting be adjourned at 8:14 p.m.
I'll second.
All in favor? Passed unanimously. Have a good evening, everyone.